the processes that take place within the body in a matter of seconds. Various extraordinarily complex and flawless processes take place at the most amazing speeds in every square millimeter of the body in just a few seconds. These processes continue uninterrupted every second, with every breath we take, even as we sleep, until the end of our lives. These events that take place through our Lord's sublime might do so uninterruptedly every second in every one of the 100 trillion cells in the bodies of all the 7 billion people currently living on Earth. Except for reproductive and blood cells, all the cells in the body manufacture some 2,000 proteins every second. This process takes place in each one of the 100 trillion cells of all the 7 billion people on Earth. The 100 trillion cells in every adult human body form protein chains by flawlessly organizing some 150 quintillion amino acids. A ribosome can add 20 amino acids per second to a protein chain. Protein synthesis takes place in an uninterrupted manner every second in every cell of the 7 billion people on Earth. An average of 50 million cells form in the body every second, while another 50 million die. 2 million of these are blood cells. Enough DNA to fill a library consisting of 100 volumes containing 1 million pages and 3 billion letters is copied as every cell divides. This wondrous process of division takes place with the same perfection in the cells of everyone in the world. 10 to the 16th power processes take place in the brain every second. A single nerve cell can carry more than 200,000 pieces of information at the same time every second. There are around 10 billion nerve cells in the brain, communications between which is established by 100 trillion connections. Every brain cell transmits 300 currents per second, and every nerve cell discharges its responsibilities in 1 millisecond, 1,000th of a second. The brain processes 750 million signals from inside and outside the body every second. 4 billion pieces of information are exchanged between the two halves of the brain every second. All these processes take place every second in every one of the 10 billion nerve cells in the brain of all the 7 billion people on Earth. The human eye is able to send 10 million bits of information per second. Everyone in the world possesses this extraordinary capacity. In lifting a glass, the muscle expends some 10 to the 20th power of energy molecules known as ATP. They also manufacture even more than this. 10 million energy molecules, ATP, are constantly manufactured every second in every one of the 100 trillion cells of 7 billion people in the world. The white blood cells in the veins subject 10 billion cells to a health check in 2 seconds. That health check is carried out by everyone who has ever lived or is living now. The heart circulates all the blood in the body in 60 seconds. It does this all the time in all the 7 billion people alive today. 500 different chemical processes are carried out in a single liver cell every second. Every liver cell in all the 7 billion people on Earth knows those 500 different tasks and carries them out all flawlessly. Whenever food enters the body, microscopic hairs in the cells in the small intestine reject those parts of the food that are not useful. The hairs in question do this in a perfectly organized manner in everyone on Earth every second. In order to breathe, planning is carried out in a region the size of a lentil bean in the brainstem every second. A first group of cells gives the command for air to be taken in. A second group of cells determines the speed and course of respiration by halting the activity of the first group with a signal. A third group of cells goes into action when we need to breathe at a high rate and accelerates respiration by sending a signal to the abdominal muscles. Every time we breathe, more than 300 million sacs in the lungs take air in by opening and closing. These cells and sacs perform the same function, without exception, every 3 seconds in all 7 billion human beings. Thousands of hormones in the body send reports to specific cells in a single second. Each hormone makes decisions, communicates with the cells, produces the secretions the body needs, determines the right level and timing of these secretions, and arranges how long these secretions should last. Millions of hormones in the bodies of all the 7 billion people on Earth carry out the same processes in milliseconds. Some 100 billion processes will have taken place in your eyes in the time it takes to read this sentence. These take place in as little as 1/10 of a second and are carried out in the eye cells of everyone in the world. Harmful bacteria traveling from the intestines to the liver are digested and neutralized by special cells in less than 1/100th of a second. These are at work in all 7 billion people in the world. There are 10 billion capillary vessels in the human body. The erythrocytes that travel along these vessels carry oxygen to the cells. An erythrocyte only remains in a capillary vessel for between 1 and 3 seconds and then heads for the heart. During that time, it gives oxygen to the tissues and takes away carbon dioxide. This distribution process takes place within the flawless system in all the 7 billion people in the world. As you hear these words, billions of cells in your brain are working to understand what you've heard and are controlling the actions of your muscles and how you breathe. The brain is aware of the protein production in your cells, the transportation of oxygen to the cells by erythrocytes, the images that enter your eye, sounds that reach your ear, what is happening in your stomach and liver, the wristwatch strapped to your arm, and everything else. It responds to and regulates all of these every second. The magnificent system in the human body has worked flawlessly and immaculately in everyone who has ever lived and is still working so today. There is no doubt that the creator of this magnificent system in our bodies is our Almighty Lord, Allah, and that Almighty Allah has knowledge and control of this system at every stage and every moment. Our Lord says in one verse that, I seek refuge in Allah from the accursed Satan. The keys of the unseen are in His possession. No one knows them but Him. He knows everything in the land and sea. No leaf falls without His knowing it. There is no seed in the darkness of the earth, and nothing moist or dry which is not in a clear book. Surat Al-An'am 59.